Now this isn't like the good old days when you could take the front brakes off, pack the wheel bearings, and then put them back on. This one, you actually have to go buy a new one. Now what we got is we've got a sealed bearing unit inside the hub. Now the hub actually holds the 6 wheel studs that your wheel bolts to, so that's kind of an important part. So with the jack stand fully underneath the truck and connected to the frame, make sure that, go ahead and take the wheel off and we'll get started on this baby. Now, I looked online, and according to the old internet, it says that the nut hiding behind here holding the axle in is a 36 millimeter. So, obviously you're going to take that off to get this wheel bearing off. But before I went through the trouble of tearing through everything else, I at least want to make sure we got the right one. So, foregoing the chisel that I swore I had, I do have the hammer though. Let's see if we can't try to pop this baby off. And that is per the usual, not popping it off so much as we are just denting it. You can actually get a new one at the local auto parts store. They'll look at you like you're crazy, perhaps, but and this is why you also use a chisel. After another look through the toolboxes, I found out I did not buy a punch and chisel set. Turns out I only bought a punch set. So I'm left with a couple other options. Either I can use a small pry bar. As you can see, it does have a nice metal end where you can strike it. Or, I do have something that's designed to take a hammer and keep on going. But for right now, let's give this a shot. Yay, success. Now again, back to our comment about let's check that size. It's a tiny bit jittery, but it's close enough it'll work. It obviously tells me it's supposed to be some kind of standard, or maybe a 35 millimeter metric. But, again, as long as it works, I'm not going to raise 10 tons of cane about it. Now, one thing I failed to mention was I went ahead and jacked up the other side of the truck and put a jack stand underneath it as well. Now, because I didn't have a mate to the first jack stand, I had to go get my other pair, which is a matching set of 3 tons. So, it'll actually hold the entire truck on just the 2 jack stands. Not that you'll ever get the opportunity to try it. But the reason why I did that was so I could go in, stick the key in the ignition, and barely turn it over in order to unlock the steering wheel. Now, why would anyone want to do this, you may ask? Well, because it will make it easier to replace this in parts and pieces. There's going to be a nut on the front side, as well as a nut on the back side, and more than likely a nut somewhere underneath here at the top side. Now, if you're anything like me, you're going to be wrestling around trying to look for all 3 of these. It's just easier if you can turn the wheel back and forth and kind of eyeball it that way, instead of walking around like an ostrich, sticking your head around this way and that away and up under here. So, you got to love them, don't you? So I'm going to go ahead and get a little head start. I hate to think this job's going to get interrupted because of the dead battery. Of course, a whole bunch of crap's in the way, so I can't use the impact gun, but we'll go the other route. Hand tools, never leave home without them. Do 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 do. Oops. Hey, that's not a caliper bracket bolt. And here comes caliper, bracket, and everything all at once. Now, under normal circumstances, everybody would tell you to go ahead and support that, but, you know, to be honest with you, as long as you're not going to be rattling a bunch of crap around and breaking stuff, you shouldn't have that big a problem. Set that rotor off to the side. And at least I can tell that the brake pads on the front are at least good. I like that. So now down to the other nuts and bolts, no pun intended. Okay, pun may be intended a little bit. Now before I get too far ahead of myself, I really should have made some comment towards getting the ABS brake line. Now since brake caliper is now in the way, what you can do is pull your brake caliper back down. Use one of the actual mounting bolts to hold it on. Not a big problem. Let's not panic. All it's really got to do is thread in there far enough to hold the weight, so that the brake line itself is not holding all that weight. Alright, now maybe a screwdriver or two, even though it is early in the morning to be drinking. I'll start getting some of these lines out of their brackets. I see it's going to be like that, eh? Now the very last brake line, or the ABS line, actually has a little tab right under here. And I'm just going to do a little lifty on it in order to kind of pull it out. And also notice I'm kind of holding on to it because I don't want it to just suddenly snap loose and break anything else important. So, this is the part that was actually in the frame mount. So out she goes. Now, we can come back and take that brake caliper and bracket and everything else that's holding it on. Never as easy as it sounds. And up and out of the way she goes. Let's make sure we hold on to that bolt. Now you're down to the real nitty-gritty. Only 3 bolts. I say 3 because I've already unbolted one of them. So 4 bolts total hold this on. Again, you see one here, and then one on the other side at the same location as this one. Same location as this one. So, I already know that's a 15, so we'll put this 18 back and grab our, whoa. So apparently this set skips 16 millimeters, goes from 15 to 17. Alright, well, if you can't get your impact gun in there, which will be quite difficult for this top bolt. What you're going to end up having to do is you're going to have to do like everybody else, and you're going to have to wrench it. Alright, so that one just wasn't going to work. We have to just go ahead, dive bomb in here. Let's say give her the beans, but apparently she's being a bit tough today. Wow. Boy, is it being tough. Come on down, 14. Why don't you give me a hand? Well, instead of sheer carnage, what we got was sheer slippage. Must admit, this is why I hate this stuff sometimes. One of the toys I'm going to play with is a nice little liquid here. If I can remember where I put it. This Kano Silly Coil. This I was actually turned on to this stuff years ago when I was working at a tire shop, and we also did brake work and things of that nature. We also replaced hub bearings such as these. So, but what its job is, it is known as a creeping agent, so it's going to actually seep into the cracks in between, dissolving any rust. And typically it takes a minute. I'm going to go ahead and spritz a little down here at the bottom bolt, even though I don't think we're going to need it. I got a new toy for that one. But we'll go ahead and put it in there anyway. And while we're working on the bottom bolt, we'll actually let this one seep up, get good and loose, hopefully, while I introduce the new toy. Talk about an upgrade in impact. When you've got to break out the extension cord, you know it's better to have some power. Supposedly twice the torque of my battery operated one, and there is a cat in the neighborhood meowing. I don't know, it's not mine. So apparently we just rounded the head off. Did I happen to mention that's not good? Son of a... And you ain't gonna believe this, but the wrenches worked. Well, tried a couple of other alternative options. So far nothing's worked. That's a bit of an update. The 36mm, however, did work. And I'm glad I used an impact gun, because that would have taken a while doing it by hand tools. So now, I'm going to try to see if I can't put some edges back on this, because obviously round just ain't going to fly. Alright, after a little grinding, and a spot of hammering, as well as a little more application of Croil, I'm going to try doing this by hand again. As soon as I decide which wrench I want to break. Yeah. Let's make sure we have enough ass on it. Come on, baby. work with me here. And hey, it turns. The other interesting part is the wrench actually came off. Alright, so now that we've broken that one, almost literally, so we can find something on here. Try our old 15 that would, hey, our old 15 with all the initial torque taken off of it works. Now let's make this a little faster. With the box down. Let's make it faster. Let's go with the impact gun. Yikes. Now I've got to find a way to fix this. Alright, so now we can actually start working on trying to get the hub itself off the truck. Now, since it's not just going to pull, apparently, got all 3 bolts. This one's still just kind of playing around. Notice it is coming loose right here, so we are making some progress. Let's get that out of the way. Maybe get it from underneath a couple of times. Boy, this really is rusty. Remember our good buddy the pry bar here. Screw him. Let's bring in his bigger brother. No matter where you go, there it is. Oh, I think we finally broke the seal. Once again, still trying to keep that damn center shaft from coming out with it. Let's say, lo and behold, it's out. All right. And finally get that top bolt out, maybe. These are the 2 that gave me the most trouble. Of course, these are also the 2 I tried to use an impact gun on. So, what is today's lesson? You now use impact guns when you're trying to change out wheel bearings. Use a little muscle, use some wrenches. So, anyway, so it's going to be time to hop in the old truck and head on down to parts store. Now, for those of you in Murfreesboro who love your hometown folks, want to keep it nice and small, even though the place is getting bigger more and more every day. Florida Brothers here off the square. They're the Napa place. Like I said, they saved my hide for the day.